Hey, you guys want to hear a funny story? Alright, so I was walking out of the gym one day. I was coming out of the locker room, just finished my workout, and I was passing another person, and I see a gray Champions underwear, boxer brief, on the floor. That's one of mine, it's one of my brands. So I reach down, I grab it up, I was like so embarrassed. I pick up my underwear, shove it into my bag, and just bolted out of the door. But it wasn't until I got home later that evening that I realized that that wasn't my underwear at all. Let's get on the news. Alright, so this is the week of November 8th, 2015. And you know what? We have some actual sales figures from Washington cannabis sales. Stores from the Southwest Washington region have noticed a drop in their sales since the passing of Oregon's Measure 91. Now, if you don't remember, Oregon's Measure 91 was the legislation which legalized cannabis recreationally in the state of Oregon. In the Vancouver area, they were hit the hardest, and store owners have actually been commenting that they've been noticing reduced foot traffic as well as sales figures. Out of 6 stores in the Vancouver area, they've noticed a $2 million drop in revenue. But sales for recreational cannabis on the whole for Washington have actually increased. For the month of October, Washington has recorded $61 million in sales. This is up $500,000 from the previous month's $59.5 million. The Oregon Retailers of Cannabis Association actually estimate for the state of Oregon to have $11 million for the sale of October. Now, if you're an actual producer or processor in Washington, you don't have to worry too much because you do have the market cornered for concentrates, edibles, drinks, and topicals. This is because Oregon has not issued any licenses to processors, and they will not issue them until the year 2016. For education. Education has always been sort of a thing that's been coming near and dear and true to me. After all, I spent 4+ years in college just nerding out to my heart's content, learning all I could about cars. I mean, I even was on a mini Baja team where I built an off-road car from scratch. That was exciting as all fuck, and that was one of the things that probably the highlight of my entire college career. For students in Pueblo, Colorado, they'll actually have a chance to have a marijuana scholarship. Now, this is a scholarship that's had its funds provided by the marijuana industry. Local residents in Pueblo, Colorado have actually approved a 5% increase in their tax, the excise tax from marijuana, and the proceeds of which will be used to fund this scholarship. This brings the excise tax for Colorado in the Pueblo area, raises it from 15% to 20%, and this will be increased over a gradual 5-year period. They expect up to $3.5 million will be generated out of this increase in excise tax by the year 2020. The initial 400 scholarship grantees will be granted $1,000 per year of their scholarship. And this scholarship is meant for students from Pueblo Community College as well as Colorado State Pueblo. Alright, now we're going to go into my own personal little story here. A little bit of insight that I've gotten after just, traveling the world of Washington cannabis and learning, and talking with people and learning so much about the actual industry and the actual cannabis plant itself and how it grows. Now, today I wanted to talk about indoor versus outdoor grows. Now, usually my previous thought was that indoor grows were the supreme, penultimate, ultimate way to grow your bud. This was because with an indoor condition, you can control your lights, you can control your nutrients, you can control your temperatures, you can even control your CO2 levels in your own grow tent. This is an extreme level of control, and out of this you get these super hyper buds, and it's kind of crazy to actually see these in person. And I know you viewers have probably seen this in your own dispensary shops, these super crystalline nugs that you can't even comprehend just the mouth-watering smell of it. But I actually talked to an outdoor grower, and his name was Nico, and I learned a ton about how the cannabis plant can grow outside. Now, the thing about outdoor grows is that you can also have many of the benefits that you have with the indoor grows. Just because a plant is growing outdoors doesn't mean that you can't take advantage of a hydroponic system. And you can also take advantage of nutrients, specifically nutrients and what you give it to. But the one difference, probably majorly, is that the light cycles are based on Mother Nature as well as the temperature fluctuations. Now, outdoor grown bud is typically known as not the hyper bud. However, I learned quite a bit about the process of the plant going through these outdoor conditions, more of a natural organic condition, and actually When a plant goes through those fluctuation changes in temperature, experience up to 40 degrees from hot to cold, the course of that plant's life will have a different profile than an indoor grown bud. It'll have a lot more of the natural elements that you have with the handshake elements that group together and creates a more, I guess you could say, fuller grown plant. This reminds me of the icewein that grows in Germany. Now, I was actually traveling there and I tasted some of this wine, and I learned that this wine is actually produced when there's an extreme cold frost season. And it gets so cold that the actual grapevines freeze and become stiff. And the water inside the grapes freezes, but the sugars don't. Now, out of this process, there are some grapes that don't make it, so it's only the strongest grapes that actually make it through the frost and get turned into the icewein. The result of this is that you get an incredibly concentrated, incredibly sweet wine that comes out of this, and it's only available in limited quantities. Now, this just kind of reminds me of that corollary between a plant growing in outdoor conditions, going through the fluctuations in temperature. It makes the plant hardier and it makes it stronger, and you get perhaps a more interesting product out that way. But there is also the simple economic benefit of growing outdoors. Every month that passes, real estate is getting more and more expensive in all of the growing state areas. In Colorado, I think there's even been Goodwills and Salvation Armies that have not been able to buy warehouses simply because the cost of renting the warehouses has gone up so much more significantly. Also, when you're growing an indoor warehouse facility, the utility fees have gone up to nearly five-figure dollar amounts. These are becoming very, very expensive grows, and this cost that it takes to grow the product is going to trickle down onto the product and the end user, to you eventually. With an outdoor grow, you have the ability to scale. You have the ability to have a much more larger grow and be able to take advantage of the sunlight, take advantage of the local water tables, and be able to have a product that may not be a hyperbud, but it will be able to supply the product to a larger number of people. So out of this, I kind of learned that there really is no indoor or outdoor. It's not indoor versus outdoor, but rather it's indoor and outdoor. By having a variation in the way that you grow the products, you get a variation in the products that come out to the market. Now that means for every consumer, whoever wants a different type of product, well, perhaps they can get whatever they want. If there's someone who's looking for just that special occasion bud, a hyper indoor grown bud with the conditions are strictly controlled, well then they can get that product from an indoor grow. They may pay more for it, but they do realize that it may be worth the money. Now perhaps you're a processor looking to run your closed loop system and you want to be able to get 5 pounds of bud and run that 5 pounds at a time and create this beautiful shattery goo, shattery glass-like amber to supply to your medical patients. Well, you can do that, and you can do that in a more cost-effective way with the outdoor grow suppliers. So it's not indoor versus outdoor, but rather it's indoor and outdoor. And that's it for the Dabbing Diaries News Moment. I hope you guys have a good week and continue and tune in next week.